Welcome to the Real Mama Pod.
I'm your host, Devin.
And I'm your host, Kendra.
We are real moms.
Sharing real experiences. The things people don't tell you.
Hey, Mama. How you doing?
I'm good, friend. How are you?
I'm doing well.
If this is your first time listening, I'm your host, Kendra.
And I'm your host, Devin.
And
welcome to the Real Mama Pod.
Hey. We have a beautiful guest. Look at her
We
smile. She's just sitting there smiling.
Yes, we have an awesome guest today. Her name is Sharyn Kish, and we met her through social media. She's a kindergarten teacher. She's been teaching for over 20 years. She's read at like 28 years. She's been in education for a very long time. She also won Teacher of the Year. I mean, if you ever go to her page, you will find so much literacy for your children. I've actually done some stuff that she's posted for Drew, and it's fun because Drew does not like to read, write, anything academic, okay? And when we do her activities, like, he's really engaged. So I definitely recommend you following her and checking out some of her hacks. We've actually, we do Mama Hack Mondays, and we posted one of her hacks, and ever since then, like, people have been sharing her stuff to us to, like, post. And so we're reposting our stories and things like that, but phenomenal content. If you have a young reader, you will definitely enjoy using some of her things. Okay. So welcome to the show, Sharyn. How are you?
Welcome, Sharyn.
So much for having me, and you just like filled my cup so much. So thank you very much.
Yes, keep doing the work.
Thank you. I'm doing awesome. I'm just so excited to be here sharing this time with you.
Awesome. So Sharyn, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Like, tell us a little bit about your journey to mamahood.
Sure. I was a teacher, and this was my lifelong dream, of course, to be a teacher. And after teaching a few years and meeting who I thought was my person, then we decided to have a family because I love kids. I love children. So, my wish was always to have some of my own. So I did. I had two beautiful daughters. Things didn't work out quite the way I had always envisioned them to, as, some things are not in my control. So I was a divorced mom for a little while. Two beautiful girls. I met my husband, who is absolutely amazing. I picked him up at breakfast one day. That's a whole nother story. And he had two beautiful children. So we've talked ever since that day that we met. Actually, like, he texted me because I had the waiting number to him.
I love it.
Yeah, ever since. It was it's been 13, it'll be 13 years that we met next month, and 9 years that we were married in July. So I have two bonus stepchildren, and I have my own two children. So that is, that's part of my journey. So did I plan it that way? Of course not, but we're never in control. But I'm just so thankful to God that it worked out this way, because, like I said, now instead of two, I have 4 children. And actually, my husband's daughter, my stepdaughter, just had a baby. So now there's a baby in the family. It's amazing.
I love it. That's so exciting.
What time for you shooting your shot, Sharyn?
Yes, shoot your shot, ladies. If you're listening to this, and we did have an episode with a divorced mom who found love again. Yeah. So look, there's love out there. Yeah. Shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot.
This is confirmation. Sometimes you don't have to wait on the man.
I know. Yeah, out of the
exactly.
comfort zone, writing my phone number down and having the waitress pass it along. Wow. But
so did you just see him and was like, oh, he looks good. Let me just.
Girls, I did. I did not want to go to this. It was a first watch. I wanted just to go shopping, but my girlfriend, she's like, no, I need breakfast. I'm like, can we just get some Starbucks? She's like, no, I'm going to sit down and have breakfast. I'm like, oh, fine. So we wait in line, and then as I walked past the table, I was like,
ooh.
I didn't say anything to her, and I took out my little pad of paper in my purse, because I'm a teacher, I've got lots of supplies. I write my phone number down, and I just wrote, you have the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen, and your kids are adorable, too. like, here's my number if you're not attached, or something like that. And the waitress came over, and I said, my girlfriend's looking at me. She's like, what are you doing? I go, oh, I'm writing my phone number down for that guy. She's like, what guy? I go, he was sitting up there towards the front with the 2 kids. And she goes, oh my gosh. So the waitress came over, gave it to her. She took it and she gave it to him. But in the meantime, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible person. I didn't even look to see if he was wearing a ring. What if he's wearing a ring and he's just a wonderful guy taking his children out in the morning for breakfast and giving her some mom time. I'm like, oh my gosh. So the waitress came back and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I don't even know if he was married. She goes, oh, I didn't see a ring. I wouldn't have given it to him if there was. I was like,
oh, I love it.
Heart, right?
Accountability.
And so I was like, okay. And she goes, the only thing is, I want to be invited to the wedding and I want a bottle of wine. I go, so I still talk to her to this day. We're friends on social media. Wow. We don't see each other as often as we did at first. We met up a few times, but she's part of our story, and it's just she will comment every anniversary that we have like that.
I love it.
Like, what time for the first watch?
Right.
Waitress. First of all, first watch is really good. So your friend absolutely sit down and have a nice meal at first watch, but I love that story.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad it worked out.
In a time where I was just learning how to text. I really didn't text that much, but I came home and I was doing my thing, and for the first time, my daughters were actually with their father at that time, and so I had some time to myself, and I hear this like little buzz like go off on my counter, and I was like looking, I was like, oh, like it's him. So I text my girlfriend, what do I say? What do I do? So I called. She's like, no, you don't call. Just wait a while. And I'm like, okay. So yeah.
That is so cute.
Love a cute love story.
We do.
But can I tell you the very best part of this is that he's in education also. So at that time, he was the principal of the high school that I went to.
Oh, wow.
Many years later.
Destined.
Yeah,
Destined.
Right?
It's funny how things just come together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
God's plan.
Yes. That's 100%.
Okay. So you are a teacher, right? What made you want to become a teacher, an educator?
Well, like I said, from when I was very little, I have an older brother and an older sister. They're 6 and 7 years older than I am. I would always see them going off to school, and my mom would say how I would be so upset. I would cry. I want to go to school, Mommy. I want to go to school. I want to go to school. So actually, my birthday is October. Back then,
oh, mine too.
I started when I was 4 because I couldn't wait. I did not go to preschool. I did things at home, but I was probably like a little more, ready to go. Not having preschool back then. Things are a lot different right now. So my mom took me, we did all the testing, and I was, in school, and I loved every second. I would come home, I would arrange my stuffed animals, in front of me, and I would be teaching them whatever the teacher taught me that day. And I remember my dad having, t-shirts with like letters on them and, just sayings from different places. And I would always, this is my earliest memory, and I don't, I was probably 2 or 3, and I'm tracing the letters, and like my dad would say the letters with me, and I'd say R, and then I don't know, I've just always had this love of learning. Was I always a great student? No, but that doesn't matter. Like that passion in me, I feel like was just like fueled by great teachers that I've had in the primary grades, and as I did get older, I would come home and I would ask my teachers for like extra papers. And so they'd always give me an extra 0 or a ditto, the ditto machine, and so I'd say to my dad, Daddy, I need my kids need their assignments or their homework. And so my dad knew what that meant. That meant when you go to work, you have to make some copies on your copy machine so that I could put them in front of my little animals to teach them. So they all went along with me, and, my own little fantasy world there, my own little classroom. But ever since I was like, 4 or 5, I had my own little classroom and I was teaching. That's all I ever wanted to be. And only one time did my parents tried to sway me, and that was, teaching, teachers don't make a lot of money. And, my parents didn't have a lot of money. I think they wanted me to go into a career where I would make, a lot, more money. And I'd say, I never even thought about that. I'm like, but this is what I like to do. This is what I want to do. And they did persuade me, just, they tried to, for a little short period of time, to say, how about going into nursing? Because my sister is in the medical field. And I'd say, no. I'm like, I don't like throw up. I don't like blood. I would be a terrible nurse. Like, are you kidding me? I'd be the first one out the door. I mean, I would feel empathy for these people, or I would want to help them, because as teachers, I think teachers and nurses are so much alike. We want to serve people. Yeah. But nursing, that just wasn't for me. So nurses may make more money than I do, but I think I can have more fun, So yeah, we had this little conversation, and they knew there was no changing my mind, and they just wanted to throw that out there. So again, so happy that I chose that path, and that's
As a little girl, always wanted to be a teacher. Sharyn, your birthday is in October, so is mine. I also had a similar path of starting school earlier because of the late birthday. But I'm curious, when is your birthday? October what?
7.
Okay, so you're early October. I'm 7. Late, like the 22nd. So you've told us you have two children. You have 2 bonus daughters, so 4 children in total. And Devin she works in education. And we have these conversations often about like parents working in education and having children, right? How is that relationship? Like, are you overly critical of your kids' education? Are you like, how involved are you, I guess, with their education? What does that dynamic look like as a mama and an educator?
Yeah, it's really hard, because I feel like, again, I envisioned something in my mind, and it was a lot different than what I had in my mind. But the reality is, I tried to give them the best foundation that I could at home, and they both had preschool, but it starts so early, even before we start thinking about school. It starts with that early language development. So talking to your children, giving them experiences that don't cost a lot of money, the library, going to the grocery store, going to Target. I can honestly tell you that both of my children have never had a temper tantrum in a store because they couldn't get something that they wanted. Never happened. Talking about things that you see, pointing out letters, pointing out colors in the grocery store. And, I don't see that a lot anymore, but I feel like giving them all of those experiences where it doesn't matter, like if you're a working mom or you're a stay-at-home mom, but finding time to really talk with your kids, read to your kids, do those early, really important experiences together to help give them a foundation. So when my kids started preschool, I knew that they were ready because they were able to do a lot of things by themselves, which is so super important, except for tying their shoes. Of course, that's a struggle that a lot of kids...
That's tough.
Right. But, you want to, foster their independence, and, this is showing them that you believe in them, that they can do this. Can they, use the restroom independently? We practice that. Like if we go into a restaurant or in a store, I might not, it's not the cleanest place in the world. I'm like, oh my gosh, please don't have to go. But when they do, okay, well, this is what you do, and I will wait out here, and this is how you prepare. Little things like that. Having them maybe count out some of their snack, how many pieces they could have. Having them open up little tiny containers. Things that they can do before they actually have those experiences can really give them that confidence. So I felt like the social, emotional area was totally taken care of. And did my kids know all of their letters and sounds before they entered kindergarten? Probably not. But to me, that's not the most important thing, like people may think. It's
Mm-hmm.
all these other things that I just talked about, because I can teach your child or all these children their letters and sounds pretty quick, but
Right.
it's hard for me to teach them certain skills if they haven't been practiced at home, because, you know,
Yeah.
of course, I want to say, like, I was a helicopter mom, but I had to
Mhm.
back off because I thought, how will they be able to do this without me? Oh, they can do it,
Right.
but I've got to start now helping them. And I can totally see the difference when students come in that have never had experiences, even if they haven't had preschool. Some of them don't know
Right.
how to hold a pencil or a marker correctly. Some of them don't know what to do when they're, you know, they want a drink of water. You know, they don't understand how to press down on the water fountain. So all of these things,
Mhm.
you know, then we get into, you know, kindergarten, first grade, and I don't necessarily think I was critical of them. I've always told them to do their best no matter what. It doesn't matter if anything is perfect. I just want to know that they've tried their best. And if they need help or they are struggling, I will help them. I will get them, you know, a tutor, anything that they need to help them be successful. All I want for them is to behave and follow the teacher's instructions or the adult. You will be respectful, and you have to, you know, give it 100%. You know, give it 100%. And if it's if you're still struggling, it's okay. I know that you tried your best, and I'm going to help. You know, I feel like as an educator, we are a little bit critical of the people who we're putting our children, you know, in front of. But, you know, teachers have great hearts, and they, you know, they love children. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this job.
Yeah.
So I felt that whatever they're really not going to get, I can do games at home. We'll do fun things. And that's what we did. When they had vocabulary words, they had math problems, we would write all over. I have like 3 huge mirrors in my bathroom. We'd write all over that. And they thought that was the best thing in the world. And when we would review for tests, same things. We would write it on my mirror. They'd be in my big bathtub. We'd write things, and I'd have them identify things and cross them off. So again, making it kind of fun and a little bit different. My one daughter, she would love doing, like, you know, flashcards in Spanish. So she'd be like, "Mom, can you help?" And again, she even did that like in college, which was fabulous. So we'd have this time where we, you know, play these little games, and I, you know, quiz her flashcards. But I'd say just really being a part of that. So even though I'm a teacher, I didn't want to like overstep, but I was also aware of, you know, maybe some, I don't want to call them gaps, but things that I thought I need to like maybe start doing a little bit more of at home. And the other thing is, I have to believe in that teacher that my children are with, because things are so different than they were when we were in school. If your teacher in your district is teaching math a different way than I am in my district, my child's going to get confused if I say, "Oh, that's not the way we do it. You know, we did it like this when I was younger." And now you're really confusing their brain. They're like, "Well, my teacher said to do it this way, and now you're showing me." So there's that line where you have to say, "Okay, you know, I'm going to go to the teacher and say, if I didn't understand that strategy, tell me more about this. How can I help? Is there a video?" And then show them that way to do it. So I hope that I answered that question.
No, you answered that great. And y'all, I hope y'all took notes, because she just told us how to get our students kinder ready. So you said a lot there. And so I think parents hearing that, even if they have a preschooler, they know exactly what to do and what to work on. Not necessarily address the academics, but more the social emotional, kind of looking at the whole child. So that was really good. Okay, so as a teacher, how do you establish rapport with your students and get them excited about learning and tackling new things throughout the school year?
Well, I think it's super important from day one just to, you know, get down on their level and have fun with them. We always start the day with a morning meeting. And right before we do that, I do like a status of the class where we have a feelings chart, and there's 4 colors on the chart. And they will come up, they have a little clip, and as we're like checking in the morning and getting going, they take their clip and then they put it on if they're feeling red, if they're feeling blue, if they're feeling green or yellow. And all of those colors have many different feelings inside. And I call mine a mood meter. There's other names for them, but this is just for me to gauge just very quickly visually. Okay, if I have 3 kids in red, I want to meet with them right away before I start that morning meeting. And if I have most of the kids like on yellow or green, then I know, okay, that's great. And if I have some that are in the blue, that can mean things like they're tired, maybe they're not feeling well.
Right.
But the ones in the red are the ones that I want to say, I saw that you put your clip on red. Did something happen this morning? And, do you want to talk about that? Do you want to tell me what happened? And, oh yes, they'll tell you. Older kids maybe not.
They'll tell you.
Maybe hide it, right? I never force them to, but I'll say, oh my goodness, I noticed that. And I'm not doing that so that I can solve their problem. I want them to verbally tell me why they feel this way. And, a lot of times where we might think, oh, that's not a big deal. Well, they're little people, so it's a really big deal to them.
Yeah. And
you need to understand like where they're coming from, because you need to know what child you're going to be dealing with, like, for a good period of time here. So, it might be, I was mad because my dad didn't let me play Xbox this morning, or I have my favorite cereal and they're angry, and things like that. And I'll say, oh my goodness, like, I can understand, and then you're modeling and showing them what to do. I'm like, oh my goodness, I would just need to take a deep breath and let it go. And, I'll say, well, how are you feeling now since you came to school? And a lot of times they're like, fine, good. I'm like, oh, do you want to move or do you want to stay here for a little while? But there are times where it is intense and, you really need to spend a few minutes with that child and just maybe rubbing their back or asking, is it okay? Can I rub your back for a few minutes? Or do you need a hug? Or, do you need some space? Do you need to, go into a calm corner? And, that to me, when they know that you care about them as a child, like, you really are, you really care about them. You're not just their teacher and, oh, well, you have to like me. No. When they see that you are invested and you're taking the time to address these feelings with them and talk to them one-on-one, there is nothing more important. And so I always tell my children when we start our morning meeting, good morning, class family, because we are a class family. I say,
I love that.
I spend as much time with you or more time than I get to do with my own kids. And so, again, I want to show them the connection. I am a mom. These are my daughters. This is my this is my bonus daughter, Kaylee. This is my stepson, Luke. And so I show them pictures. I show them who we are. And a lot of times, too, it helps if parents are getting divorced where they don't really know what to expect or where they're going to live or how that's going to be. I feel like I have that experience. And so I talk to them a little bit. My children went through that. So it's just a great time to, everybody matters here. Everyone is accepted. We may not, we might all look very different, but on the inside, we are all the same. We all have feelings. And if we hurt someone's feelings, that's really hard to repair. We can't do that. So, I do a lot of lessons about that, but we establish that day one. And most of the time, like I'd say, 90%, 95% of the time, they've got each other's back. Of course you have like little things going on or whatever. I say, what? That person, we don't leave anyone out. That person's part of our class family. They can say no if we ask them to do something. That's okay. So a lot of lessons, a lot of modeling. And again, if I'm sad one day, I'll tell them, why, I'm sad. But you know what? I feel better now that I've been at school. I've had some deep breaths. I feel calm. I'm going to go to my Pilates class after school. I'm going to really look forward to that. And, I talk to them like they're real people, and I use
they are
that, sometimes could be above them, but that doesn't matter. So I really feel, that connection with them, and they do too. And and I'm a hugger. Let me just tell you, if I was right there, I'd be hugging on you.
We accept hugs.
I am, and so I've always been. And I tell the parents that, and most of them are they and again, if the child, if it's okay, I always ask, because sometimes they don't want to be touched. That's okay. But a lot of them are huggers. And I just say, you know what? What's better than, a mom hug, a teacher hug,
Yeah.
So, I just feel like that is so important, especially just showing them and modeling how to regulate, my own emotions and their emotions. And, we role play all the time. So they get into that. They think it's funny, but then when something like that happens, they know, and they could tell each other what to do, do you want to take a balloon test? Or, they'll give them some other ideas. And I love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, mamas, have y'all ever gone through a friendship breakup? It stinks. It hurts. It feels like you broke up with your man. The journey to healing after the end of a friendship can be so tough. But guess what? You don't have to figure it out alone.
That's right. So allow us to introduce you all to the Creative Healing Series. This series is a transformative virtual screening of the documentary Best Friends Not Forever.
Yo, that title says everything. So join our girl, Shalise. She's a rattler and a licensed professional counselor.
Yes, and she is with director of the documentary, Diamond Williamson, as they unpack this amazing series.
Yes,
where's this event? When is it, Devin?
Girl, it's virtual, so you don't have to worry about getting all dressed up and dolled up or anything like that. But it's Saturday, August 19th, 2023, for an empowering experience to support you in finding your solace and healing through creative expression.
All right. So before we get into you getting into this event, again, it's virtual, but there is still a fee, okay? Take the first step toward healing, right? And rediscover yourself in your friendships. Use our code MAMAPOD, that's MAMAPOD, to receive up to 20% off on your ticket. If you are interested in attending this virtual event, you can go to www.theconsciousqueen.com, or you can visit Eventbrite and type in Best Friends Not Forever to secure your spot. Sounds like social and emotional development is a key piece in your classroom. And that's important, right? You make those connections with your students. You make them feel like they're your own children, and you give them space to feel and explain and express how you're feeling and remedy, those feelings if they are in an unfavorable direction, right? So, I know social and emotional development while it's been a thing, it's becoming more of a topic. And research and just implementation within a lot of classrooms, or they're acknowledging it a lot more. So it's great to see, Sharyn, that you have created space for your kids, right? They're your babies too, to develop those social and emotional developmental skills, because they're so important, especially as they age and get down the line. So that's awesome that you create that.
I have to tell you this too. So at COVID, when we ended our year, okay, we thought we were going back to school, but we didn't. We prepped things for the students, and that is my kids love morning meeting, because there's different components of our morning meeting. So they were like, "How are we going to do our clip? How are we going to do our clip?" And I'm like, "I got you. Guess what? I got you. Just wait till next week." So I went to the party store and I bought plates. I bought the plastic plate. So I bought a green one, a red one, a yellow, and a blue. So they all got 4 plates. So guess what? How we started in the morning. Everyone held up how they were feeling, the color plate.
I love that. That's so innovative.
It is.
Yeah, and so that really, really helped. And so we still did our little meeting where we all got to share something, and it was great. They didn't have their clip, but they had the plate, so they absolutely.
Kudos to you, Sharyn.
Yeah, good job. That's awesome. I love that. So, to your student who may be struggling academically, how do you help them? How do you close the achievement gaps in your classroom? What does that look like for you?
So I do a lot of testing, and I take that data and I form some skill groups. So that way everybody's getting what they need at the time where they need it. So I do, whole group lessons, a lot of small group lessons. But we do have a time during our day where our district says we will have like a rest, relax time. And it's about 20 minutes in between our lunch and usually our specials time. So during that time, I can pull kids one-on-one, or I can pull a group of two, and whatever they're struggling with, whether it's, letters, numbers, counting, whatever it is, I have that time just to work with them one-on-one. And that is separate from when they have their own skill group. So even if it's, 5 minutes here and there, again, they're 5 and 6 years old in kindergarten. So you want to make it in short little spurts, of time that they're doing something that maybe isn't coming so easily to them. And that's what I would recommend for parents. It's like when your kids are at school all day long and they come home and, you want to see what they have for homework, and they need to decompress for a little while. And then if there is some type of homework, you can do it, but little pieces at a time. It shouldn't be very much time even in kindergarten. Kindergarten, we really don't give homework anymore. I say, read to your children, talk to them, give them experiences outside of your home, whether you're taking them to sports practices, things like that. Here's some games to play while you're riding to that baseball game or soccer game. Again, their brain has been on all day. They need to decompress for a little bit at home before they, get back into that learning mode. But throughout the day, I can pull them. And again, if you have the right data, you know exactly what they need, and you can just pull them just for very short periods of time.
Right. That's good.
Yes, indeed.
That's good. Because I'm a school psychologist. And so that was just a burning question for me. Since you're such a great teacher of the year, I think some teachers, we do have teacher listeners, and I think it would be beneficial for them to hear that. Because sometimes teachers want to test when it comes to like special education. And I'm like, where's your data to support this? One, in kindergarten, let's give them a little bit of time. Let's see. This may be their first time in a school setting, so they may not know how to sit down and be still for 30 minutes at a time. Are you building in breaks within the classroom? Things like that to actually look at the whole child. And so I appreciate hearing that from you because sometimes I feel like I'm like the bad guy in a sense when it comes to that, because some teachers just want automatic testing and think special education is the answer. And sometimes time is the answer. They're constantly developing, like you're saying, and some develop a little slower than others, and they may catch up. Let's just give them a little bit of time. So again, I appreciate you for taking those extra steps as a school psychologist. And I'm sure your school psychologist appreciates you as well.
And there's different tiers, that, a child may need just a little extra support, in a tier 2 for a short period of time, and then they've got it. They're great, a child might need a little more intensive, support. Yeah. So again, like we can overtest kids, and I think that you just have to, have the right assessments that you're using. Like we use a PASS assessment for our phonemic awareness, I'm Orton Gillingham trained. So we're doing all of these things to try to meet all of their needs. So the multisensory learning, all of it. We're taking our DIBELS data, and it's all like, with those two quality things, I have so mumuch information about my students. So that way I can, I know where I'm starting, I know where I have to go, and it just is so helpful when you have the right tools in place.
Love that. So I have one last clarifying question for you, Sharyn. And that's, what is your most favorite thing about being an educator, and what is your least favorite thing?
Well, I'd say my favorite thing are the aha moments when they get there, they look at you and they're like, I just read that, I just read that. To me, there isn't anything better, because I'm giving them the tools and the strategies, and we practice. But when they are on their own and they come to me and they're like, I know this word, or I can read this word, or I can blend this word all by myself, that is like, that is my job, and I'm like, all right. And just how proud they feel. And there's nothing like seeing that growth. So for me, it's, really, and showing them their growth. Like I want them to have ownership in that. So, setting little goals along the way. I'm like, you can reach that goal. Watching them become readers in front of my eyes is like the most rewarding thing ever. I just, and they laugh, they say funny things, hilarious, or like funny things happen, that, my girlfriends and I are like, we can't make this stuff up, because, right. It's the one, there were these two little girls sitting outside at recess the one day, and they were on the bench. And so my girlfriend and I were looking, and they're like this. And we walk over, and we're like, are they singing? Are they dancing? We're like, hi, girls. They're like, hi. Do you want a selfie with us? And we're like,
oh, wow.
Sure. They're taking selfies. They're like pretending like they're, taking little selfies. And then, just like, things that you don't anticipate happening usually will happen. Like I had this one little boy who went into the bathroom, and I'm with a small group, and my kids are working in centers, and he came out. He was in the bathroom for quite a while, and I was like, I was thinking, I should probably go check on him. I didn't have to go because he came out fully naked into the classroom. And I was like, oh, I'm like, oh no, pants totally off and down, underwear up. I'm like, oh boy. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's go back in. I need you to, put it back on. And I said, I said, do you take your pants off at home when you go potty? Yes. And I'm like, I'm thinking, we can't do that at school. Okay, that's, at home, mom, it's very private here, so we had to have that conversation. But, and I've had little kids, wanting to go to the bathroom or going to the bathroom outside on the playground by the sewer because they've seen dad go outside in the yard, those kinds of things. But
our really boys just whip it out sometimes.
I had this little boy who had just maybe had his glasses for, I'm going to say 2 days. And with kids, like they break easily, and it's, we're trying to be very careful. He went to the bathroom, and then he comes out, and he's like, Mrs. Kish? And I'm like, yes. I thought something happened. He's like, I go, Aaron, where are your glasses?
Boy.
The toilet. And I'm like, the toilet? I go, how could they be in the toilet? I'm like, did you drop them in there? He's like, no. And I'm like, oh, goodness. I go into the bathroom. I'm like, how did this happen? He goes, I went to flush the toilet. And I'm thinking, see, again, he's facing the toilet. I'm like, mindset, I'm like, okay. I'm like, it's okay. We'll get him. We treat the custodians very, very kindly. So I'm sure that we'll get help. So it was cute. But I was like, I'm so sorry, But fun things like that. So the not so fun parts are, just more and more things being put on your plate as an educator, and nothing's taken off. That's really, really hard. Another thing is, in education, unlike other careers, let's say that you're in a district or a school for a certain number of years, and the leadership changes. Maybe you have a new superintendent or a new principal or whatever it is. It's very difficult to leave once you are established, in a district. It's unlike any other profession, really. And so then if you're just not jiving for some reason with those new people, and you're not as happy, or you can't just go to another district because you lose a lot of your years. So I would say that in education is kind of like what people may or may not know, but that's kind of the downside as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. So Sharyn, we have one more question for you before we transition. There are a lot of moms that they're trying to get their kids kindergarten ready, right? They're in these preschool ages, and what are, I guess, your top 3 recommendations, whether it's apps or activities they can do at home to get their kids ready for, I guess, that transition into kindergarten or any early childhood development area?
Well, that's a great question. So I'll start off with some of my favorite apps that I know that my students love doing at school. Starfall is a great one. They have a free version and a paid version. Another absolute favorite is Teacher Monster to Read. It might just be called Teacher Monster. Really engaging. The students want to play that all the time. So that's actually one of our choices during their computer time. Another one is Splash Math. I believe they still have a free version and a paid version. Oh, let's see. Oh, there's a really great one for logical thinking, critical thinking too. It's Codable. It's Kodable. And that's one that a lot of my students love to do. Like we do like Hour of Code usually in December, and we introduce it then, and it's on their computer, and they still want to play because they're so into this coding, but they really don't know that they're coding, which is fabulous. And then I think another one I have to say is it's called ABCya, like abcya.com, and there's like lots of grade levels, and there's puzzles, there's games, there's drawing, there's a lot of different things for different grade levels, not just kindergarten. But I honestly feel like an app or a program is not going to teach kids. It's really the teacher, the parent, the caregiver. You know, again, I can't stress enough, like that vocabulary development, telling them what it is when you're pouring it, using different words for things at home, playing games, like you would just have like cards from a game, showing them like, lion, or a mop. And all you have to do is just show them the picture cards and see if they, know what they are. And then as they see these things and they learn their letters, learn their sounds, you can play games. And so when I show you a card, I want you to come up with a word that starts the same way as this word. So if you see lion, you can't say lion. I want you to say something else. So just developing, that awareness of the letters and sounds. But I would say like social interactions, if they're not in preschool, that's okay. Take them to the library, take them to play groups so that they have interactions with kids, so that they know, they're not, how to play with another child. But really giving them a routine at home. And let's say that, they are going to be buying their lunch at school. You are nervous as a mom. Like, I'm like, well, how will they know what to do? Well, you know what? It's going to be my job to show them. If they're a packer, this is what they're going to do. And hey, guess what? Today is really nice outside. Let's go have a picnic on the grass and then pack their lunch. See if they can do those things. And if they can, it's okay. You're going to know to send them with different things. There are always helpers in a lunchroom or cafeteria to help. But these are ways that you can help them. And also not solving the problems for them. If you play a game, don't always let them win, because when they come to school, they're going to expect to win, and you got to teach them how to be a graceful loser, and that's really tough. Even when you're an adult. So, whenever I introduce a game, I always, model, like, I'm going to say, great job, or, and if I am the winner, I'm going to say, you did great, and I bet you're going to get it the next time. So just modeling that language of how to be a winner, but also how to be, how to take that loss.
Yes, you got to take losses sometimes, right?
I need to work on that.
We do not let our son, if we're playing a game and you lose, then, like you said,
Jared's like, my husband,
next time.
and he'll rub it in their face. And I'm like, no, you can beat mommy. So I need to work on that.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and then I would just say the last thing, too, would be logical thinking. So getting them to try to solve a problem. Like, my nose is running. What do I do? As moms, what do? We've got tissues everywhere. So we're like, oh, okay, blow your nose. Well, if your nose is running and you're at school, what do you do? So it's like, if this happens, what do I do? So they, it's, I can't tell you the importance of them knowing, if someone is waiting and, I want a drink of water. Okay, I'm going to raise my hand, or I can, the teacher says, if no one's there, I can go. Okay, show them how a water fountain will work. Those types of things.
That was good. I love that.
Thank you, Sharyn. Thank you so much.
Children.
Oh, yeah.
Read to the babies. Before we move on to Mama Juice, I just want to shout out our sponsors for the show.
Oh, absolutely.
So we've been working really hard to get some sponsors, and we're getting sponsorships, and this is so exciting. So our first sponsor is SelfieSkin Co, and we've actually been wearing using. You see the glow? And so we are absolutely falling in love with this skincare line.
Absolutely.
So definitely give that a try. And then who's our next sponsor?
We also have North 24. We have some of them displayed here. I don't know if you all can see. But North 24th, is a natural cleaning line. Yeah. And their products smell so good. Yeah. What we have here is the lavender and patchouli, like all-purpose cleaning, and it smells so good,
and it works.
Literally works. Yeah. So definitely give North 24th a try.
Yes, and SelfieSkin Co.
Yes,
we're glowing.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay, absolutely. So what are we drinking for Mama's Juice?
So Mama's Juice is also sponsored today. Mm-hmm. Y'all know I love Mama Juice, but I actually didn't have to get super creative with our drink today because we have a sponsor, which is Poise Wine. It's right here. We have a sweet, dry white wine, and we also have a sparkling rosé here, but we are actually using the sweet, dry white wine, and we have it mixed with peach juice here. And this was still a bit inspired by you, Sharyn, because from what we understand, you like mimosas. But we wanted to make sure we incorporate this wine, right? So we were like, maybe we should put some peach juice with it, and it tastes really good. Yeah, it does. And of course, y'all know I love a mint garnish. It's in here as well. But that is our Mama Juice today. We have our Poise sweet, dry white wine here, and we also have peach juice mixed in with a mint garnish.
Yes, and the name of our Mama Juice is inspired by Sharyn, and it's rolling up our sleeves and doing the work, because Sharyn is out there doing the dirty work, okay?
She
is.
And
we appreciate teachers like her. We need more teachers like her. We know there's a drastic drop in educators because of how teachers are treated. So for her to be a teacher for 28 years
and love it
and enjoy it, and her kids love, oh my gosh, they're so cute. You can tell they love her. They're all lit up and happy and learning and reading, and nothing makes my heart happier than seeing kids reading.
Yeah.
So just keep doing the work, Sharyn. We really appreciate you. We're really inspired by you. We use all your hacks for education for our kiddos. So
we will have our kids in your class.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish I can.
It's like, where is it? We need our kids in Miss Sharyn's class.
Right. Everyone needs a Miss Sharyn.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So if this is your first time listening, we have another segment called Mama's Corner. So this is our opportunity to connect with our guests further, and our opportunity for our listeners to write in and ask us questions. Sometimes we're reflective, and sometimes we'll read a guest letter. And we actually have someone who's written in.
Okay.
So Sharyn, we will ask you for your expertise, and we will kind of comment as well. So it says, "Hey, ladies.
Hey.
My son is 9 years old, and he never really liked school. He's in danger of failing, but I know he isn't trying his best. How do I know if my teacher is a good fit for him? His teacher is a good fit for him."
So we're first gonna let Sharyn respond, and then see what we have, because I don't know. Sharyn, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I would say, I'm wondering if this parent or caregiver has talked with the teacher. I'm also wondering if is he struggling in a certain area. Are there things going on at home? So I think really having that rapport with the parents, it's equally important as with the student, because there could be something that maybe has changed in his life, that maybe mom or dad or the caregiver, is going about something, but there's been a significant change, and maybe they're just not putting what they should be doing into their schoolwork because they're thinking about something that's happening or bothering someone at home. So there's so many things that, at play there. But I would say the communication with the parent or the caregiver or the adult at home is really, crucial. And if they're reaching out to try to have, to get more help, chances are the teacher most likely is hopefully collecting some data and doing some interventions as well. And then hopefully they're meeting together to see what the next steps could be. But not liking school, sometimes are they bored? Are they struggling in a certain area? There's a lot of things that could be happening. Some, things that are at home that we don't have control of, but that communication is key.
Right. That's good. I would say that too. Communication is key. Talk to the teacher, get to know the teacher. And it may just be the lack of motivation of your son as well. Put some accountability back on him. He's 9 years old. Talk to him. See why he's struggling, why he's not doing his work. And then maybe see if they can even break up assignments for him. Maybe it's too much at one time for him. So just have a conversation. He's 9, fourth grade, right? That's around 4th grade. 9. I think it's okay to talk to your kiddo too.
I'm not an educator. But I think what both of you have shared, I know as a parent, I would ask the questions. I would go and talk to the teacher. How is he doing in class? How is his energy? Just getting all those details, at least for me, would help me figure out what's going on with my baby and what can we do as a collective to support him. So both of you have shared responses that I would at least entertain in some way. But Mama, I hope your baby boy is doing better in school. And if not, hey, we're here to support in any way we can. Just reach out to us.
Reach out and let us know how he's doing once we answer your question. I know it may have been some time since you've written this, but let us know how he's doing. So Sharyn, for those who want to follow you, get in touch with you, how can they find you on social media?
I am known as Kinder Kish on Instagram and TikTok, and I post a lot of fun games that are very interactive with kids. So they're learning, but they mostly think that they're playing, and it's like gamified. So trying to slip that in there so they don't really think that they're learning now. But no, I do a lot of activities and strategies and games. So definitely doable. They don't cost a lot of money to make the things that I'm showing you because I really want to help and inspire teachers, caregivers, and parents. And a lot of these things are like everyday things that you will have in your house, like a paper plate. I posted so many different ways that you can use one paper plate. So just give me a follow. I'm Kinder Kish. And if you have any questions about any of the activities, you can definitely give me a direct message and I will respond.
Oh, yeah, she's great with responding on social media. Yeah. Seriously, she is. Yeah. And I just want to say kudos to you with the props, the note cards, the paper plates. You came prepared. You're such a teacher. I love it.
Thank you so much, Sharyn. And all of your information will be in our description box. So in case you have some new followers and new clicks and things, it could be from our listeners. Who knows?
Yes, follow.
Thank you so much.
Well, until next time.
Bye. Bye. All so much for joining us at the Real Mama Pod.
Yes, every Thursday night. Y'all could be anywhere.
But you're hanging out with us.
Yes, and we love it. So, friend, where can they find you?
They can find me anywhere they like. I'm on Instagram at KendraFerg_. And I'm also on Facebook, Kendra Ferguson. Okay. What about you?
And you can reach me at DevGrace_. Instagram, TikTok,
Pinterest, Twitter,
Facebook, Twitter, all of that at the Real Mama
Pod.
Yeah, so make sure you follow us. If you want to learn more about Kendra and I, you can check out our website, where we have mama merch. Hey, you can see our little sweatshirts.
Right.
Yeah.
We are wearing our mama merch.
Yeah, we have sweatshirts, hats, necklaces. We also have Rich Auntie merch. So you can purchase that at www.therealmamapod.com. We're so corny.
I know.